Um, Welcome, Greek U Nation, to episode number 581 of the Fraternity Foodie Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Mike Ayalon, CEO of Greek University. I'm a speaker and an author. Our sixth book just came out. It's called I'm So Beautiful, It's Ridiculous: Unleashing and Promoting Strength, Self-Worth, and Real Sisterhood. So go and pick up that book on Amazon or Barnes& Noble today. We call these episodes the Fraternity Foodie Podcast because there is nothing like great food to bring fraternity and sorority leaders together. Fun fact, the great part about fraternity and sorority is the community that it provides for us. It's the community that will cheer us on when we accomplish our big goals. It's also the community that picks us up when challenges come our way. It's the sum of those parts that has endured our chapters for well over a century. And it's my firm belief that it is the best leadership experience on any college campus in the country. It's values. It's giving back to our communities. It's a powerful network that you can get more done together instead of by yourself. And it is what I put my hope into for the future. Speaking of hope, let's talk to our next guest. Will Yank is a 2020 graduate from Wabash College who is also a member of Phi Gamma Delta Fraternity. At 21 years old, he was diagnosed with leukemia and septic shock, and now he speaks on reclaiming hope, something that is very important. It's a very important lesson for us all to consider when life throws us a curveball and we start to feel things like pain or failure or regret. Today, we're going to hope for something. Welcome to the show, Will.
Thank you, Dr. Michael. I appreciate it. I'm excited to be here today.
Will, it is an honor to have this young generation, this Gen Z, on our podcast. Your voice is incredibly important to all of our listeners. And I'm wondering, you decided on Wabash College for your undergraduate experience. I'm wondering, why did you decide that Wabash was the right place for you?
Yeah, for sure. A lot of people knack Wabash for being a private all-male school, but probably one of the best academic experiences I've ever gotten. And just in the sense that you were reclaiming earlier about fraternities and community and fellowship and just being together, huge on that campus. They also gave me the opportunity to run track there, so that was a determining factor for me. But then just the sense of home that I felt on campus sold me right away. I was like, this is the place I need to be. And at first, I will not lie, I was resistant to go. My mother kind of pushed me to accept some scholarship money that I'd received from there early on. And so I went and accepted the money, and then realized that I love the campus as well. So, yeah.
Very cool. I did some track in high school. What was your event for track?
I did all the jumps, so you can't tell for me on the video. I'm 6'7", so I did triple jump, long jump, and high jump, and the height definitely helps in that scenario. So
Yeah. See, I tried doing some of those things and I'm not very tall, so I don't
yeah,
have the same gifts that you have. But I
that's
did enjoy the long jump. I thought the long jump was really, really good. There was that breakout moment I remember in high school on the long jump where, I mean, really, like, your mind tells you that you want to go far, so you're trying to jump far, but in reality, what you want to do is just run as fast as you possibly can and jump up. And if
exactly.
you can figure that out, if you can trick your mind into doing that, it'll
Yes.
take you a long way. And suddenly I figured that out in high school, and my coach just looked at me. He's like, "Did you just do that?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Yep.
And he goes, "You finally figured it out." So
That's
anyway, always fun. It's good to talk to a fellow long jumper who knows what I'm talking about. Now,
yeah, exactly.
you joined Phi Gamma Delta fraternity there, so I'm wondering what made you want to join Fiji over all the other organizations on campus?
Yeah, Wabash is a really strong fraternal system, I would say, and organization. Just from all the chapters that were on campus, I was promising kind of wherever I ended up. I wasn't too worried about that. Fiji in itself, though, their claim to fame on the campus was just being an academic house, super focused on what we were to do there, which was learn and study and things like that. And so I really appreciated that about the house at the time. And also just connected with the brothers best. I think anytime anyone pledges or anything like that, or goes through, try to get a bid, et cetera, it takes that time to get to know some of the brothers and whether you might be a good fit for that house. And of the 3 or 4 bids that I got, that house felt like, again, I'm going to use that word again, home to me. So I committed there and pledged there, and it was a really good experience. Lots of fun, lots of memories. Everybody has those different memories from pledgeship and things like that, but formed some really good friendships and relationships through that.
That's
So
awesome. I love it. I love that you were talking about academics. I think that's really important. So, if
yeah,
your fraternity or sorority is strong in academics and you can pull out that list that shows that you're tops for cumulative GPA, for your fraternity in the entire fraternity system, I think that says a lot in terms of the types of people that you want to attract, that you do believe in academics, you do want to be successful once you graduate from Wabash.
yeah,
So, I think that says a lot, and people should really stand on that and have that data available because when people join an organization, they want to know that they're joining the best organization. We all want to
yeah,
win. And so if
yeah.
you have the data that proves that you're the best, not that you just say that Fiji is the best. No, we have
Sure.
actual data that proves what I'm saying to you. That's
Yep.
important.
Yep. Yeah.
So,
And it was anything from the homecoming games that we played to, yes, the cumulative GPA, the house GPA, the class
mhm,
GPA. I mean, they were
mhm.
very adamant about that as we were, choosing where we wanted to get a bid from or hoping to get a bid. And so I was really excited to kind of hop into that culture and kind of see, what that was all about. Again, I probably could have joined a more athletic house or something like that for
Mhm.
sure, but I knew I wasn't going to go pro in my sports. So I just said, we'll just stop here and we'll just focus on the academics, I guess, here. So,
I think that was a smart idea. I think that was the right decision for sure. But your life, it took some twists and turns because at age 21, you were then diagnosed with leukemia and septic shock. Can you walk us through what that moment felt like and what thoughts went through your mind as doctors are giving you a 14% chance of survival?
yeah. So, funny story about that 14% chance. My mom actually didn't tell me that until actually this year. So, we are 5 years out of remission. My mom didn't inform me that that was my percentage chance to live until now. And I think for good reason. You started this podcast discussing hope. I think it was to keep my hope. And I noticed that throughout my treatment path that there was some information that was shared and not shared with me as I talked with my oncologists and my family a little bit more after everything had happened. Um, and to the best that I could say, they're just hope dealers, more or less. And they kept my hope up, my spirits up, and my mindset up that allowed me to kind of just press through all that. But those initial moments of getting diagnosed were really heartbreaking, as you can imagine. The most, I would say, clear feeling that I still remember is how I couldn't recognize myself. Um, I went into I call it a conscious coma, whether that's scientifically correct or not, I have no idea. But there was about a week where I pretty much blacked out, don't really have a lot of memory of. We just have video footage of that my mom took. And after that week, I looked at myself in the mirror for the first time after getting diagnosed. They had shaved my head. I was on steroids. My face was swollen. My body was swollen from the fluids and things that I had taken on. And I genuinely couldn't recognize the person that came into the hospital. So it was a terrifying experience. That was my first time that I really broke down crying. And I realized that I didn't really have any dignity or hope or ego left. There was no identity. Like everything had been shed from me. Like all that mattered now was to live. And that's all I could bear. Right. And so that was the experience. It was intense. It was scary, but interesting nonetheless. And probably good for my soul now that I'm still here to share it. So
Yeah. I
yeah,
mean, are you kind of mad a little bit at your mom that she wasn't honest with you out of the gate about that 14% chance of survival? Only because if that was me, I would be like, well, maybe I would have approached things differently. Maybe I would have told everybody that I love them and called all the people that were really important to me because I only got a 14% chance of survival. You know what I'm saying?
for sure, 1,000%. I think I was fortunate enough and I can't say whether this was being raised well or just being a kind human. I don't know what inside me, my character, whatever, led me to kind of do that already, anyways. But I
Mhm.
was already kind of in that mindset of like, I got to make the most of what I have for now. But you're exactly right. Was I mad? I think reflecting back, well, obviously just got this information like a couple months ago. So
Right.
initially, I wasn't really mad. I was like, yeah, that probably would have been nice to know, but I guess
Yeah.
who cares now? But yeah, I think at the time, I remember being very adamant that I just wanted them to tell me the straight truth. I wanted to know the reality. I didn't want to know the like puffed up truth. I think they maintained that. They always told the truth. They just withheld some of the information that they shared
Yeah.
with me at the time, which is fair. I get it. But yeah, you take what you can get.
They
You play the hand
withheld
you're
some
dealt.
information from you. They definitely withheld some important information. But I understand why, as a parent, right? Because I got two
Yeah.
college age kids. I understand why they did what they did. I was just curious, knowing what you know now, 2 months ago, is there a little bit of like, you
What?
weren't totally honest with me?
Yeah.
So, all right. So but here's the thing about hope, right?
Yeah.
Society paints hope as like this feel-good emotion, the rainbow and puffy clouds.
Yep.
You challenge that idea. What's wrong with how most people define hope?
Well, I mean, I don't think we've, let me rephrase that. I feel like everyone has heard the idea that hope is a great feeling, but it's not a great action plan. And that's been something that's been pretty prevalent, even for me. I've wrestled with this idea of hope. I even wrote a Medium article explaining that hope is nothing without faith. And that's faith in anything that you believe in. But I used to not believe in hope at all. And I felt the same way. And then there was periods in my hospital bed where I started reflecting on and learning from that experience. And I realized that hope was probably the only thing that actually got me through. And I was like, how, in essence, can we make it an action plan? How can we make hope something that we do, not something that we just feel, right? And a lot of people might substitute another word for that, faith or faith in action, whatever that looks like. But I knew that hope was more than just a feeling because, as I explained earlier, I think my family and the community, the people that surrounded me at this time, did a really good job of just helping me maintain that sense of hope, which helped my mindset, which then helped me be able to take care of myself better, which allowed me to, submit to the treatment that they were giving to me, et cetera. And so I changed that definition for hope more or less. And I think today I define it as something, or the ability to accept any situation, no matter the outcome, is how I define hope. As it's traditionally defined, it's hope is really just this feeling or expectation for something to happen, something good to take place, or but I changed that definition completely. So
Yeah, that's really interesting. I also like that part about the action plan because you have this three-part framework for actually reclaiming your
yeah,
hope. And the first
yep.
one is hope for something. So why is having some future vision so important for, let's say, college students today?
Yeah. For college students today, and even as a student, I'll be honest, before I got sick, I didn't really have anything that I was aiming for. I didn't have anything that I was necessarily proud of. I was just trying to get through the college career, and then just whatever was on the other side, I was just going to have to figure out, which is okay to a degree. But I think at the end of the day, if we all take the time to actually reflect a little bit, take the time to actually think about the things that are important to us, the activities, the hobbies, whatever those things that we enjoy, the time we enjoy doing, and then also having some form of service mixed in with that, you can kind of actually build yourself a decent vision, even if it's pretty vague. Like I know that I want to be a father one day. Okay, that's a great start. Or hey, I know that I want to work in X field one day. Great, that's another great start. Having something that you're aiming at or shooting towards just gives you the opportunity to remind yourself that even in the thick of it, it ain't all bad, right? Like you're working towards something, you're heading towards a goal, a mountaintop, something that is within view that will push you to keep moving when things get hard, more or
Yeah.
less.
I like that future vision. And I would also encourage all the college students that are listening to write that down, whatever that vision is. There's something about pen to paper that would make that more attainable once you actually write it down and you build that muscle memory of like, this is the vision. Or if you're a visual person, I know vision boards are a big thing too.
Yeah,
Just, put photos of whatever that vision is up next to the desk where you work every day. So that way, all year long, you're looking at that, and that's the vision if you're a real visual learner. But
yeah.
either way, whatever works for you best, I would just encourage you to put it down on paper in some fashion so that way you're always reminded of it and you're always working towards it.
And
Um,
Yeah, I've noticed that that's kind of been a cliche too, that people are just like, hey, write down this vision and figure it out. I wouldn't say I actually figured out my vision for probably a good year or two. So I would just encourage those same students, like, be patient with it as well. Like, take the time to do it, of course, but you're going to refine it quite a bit and it'll probably consistently change over that time.
100%.
But yeah, that'd be my other
Yeah,
encouragement.
your priorities totally change. You're absolutely right about that, Will. I mean, when I think about my priorities when I first graduated from college, it was like I need to have a fast sports car. So I went out and bought like a brand new white Mustang out of the showroom. Because
That's
that
how
was
you do it.
important at the time. Like, and
Yeah.
right? And now looking back at it, I'm like, I was an idiot. Like I had no
Yeah.
money for food, but I had a beautiful sports car parked in the driveway. And in my
That's right.
mind, that made sense. Now I look back at it, I'm like, I'm an idiot. I should have just bought a used jalopy that got me from point A to point B because nobody really cares what kind of car you drive. But that is a whole different discussion. So, the second part of your framework is to put hope into something. And for you,
Yeah.
that was your care team and your support system. So,
Yeah.
what would you say to students who feel like they have really nobody to lean on right now?
Yeah. Um, Thinking about this question, I think that when you don't have anyone to lean on, you're in a tough spot. One, my first encouragement there would be to find community as quickly as you can. When you feel hopeless, I think that is one of the quickest ways to improve your just general life situation is to find a community. Now, what is that in? That is for you to kind of figure out and something that you actually have to make the effort towards, right? So it could be a faith community if that's important to you. It could be a sports community. You could find a club on campus. You could find a group that maybe just goes out on Thursday nights together to get dinner or get a drink or something like that. Whatever that group is, seek them out first and start to find people that maybe have like-minded thoughts or are asking some similar questions that you are or things that you're struggling or wrestling with. As soon as you can find community that's going to give you that first foot in to be able to like actually improve your situation and how you perceive what's going on around you.
Really nice. I like that. Now, the
Yeah.
third part of that framework is hope that something hadn't happened. So,
Yeah.
how can students turn past any pain, failure, or regret in their life into a teaching moment instead of a burden?
Yeah. Taking the time to reflect, of course, is always something that you can do. Journaling is the other, I would say, cliche answer to that. What I found and what I've appreciated, I guess, the most is taking the time to walk back through those maybe experiences or conversations yourself or with the other people that you had these experiences with, almost in a cathartic, nostalgic way, and kind of reframing those times for yourself now. So these in the moment, right? Any past trauma or difficulty or hard thing that we faced, always in the moment sucked, right?
Mhm.
But if you're able to walk forward and then take the time to either, let's say you had a falling out with a friend, and maybe this friend either you guys reconciled that, or you have a family member that also knew this person, you can have a conversation with that person and start to process some of those things, those feelings, and understand, you know what, here were some red flags with that friend that I probably should have noticed, and maybe that falling out wouldn't have happened, or maybe I shouldn't have done X, Y, or Z, and you can actually process those things and give them a better. Again, I'm going to bring back the word perspective, but a better perspective, better hope around what's actually going on or the things that you faced. Not all the past things that have happened to you have to be bad. You don't even have to label it good or bad. They just were. And when you accept that reality and just, okay, I can't change that hand that I was dealt, more or less, what can I learn from it?
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. Listen, not everything that I've experienced in life was necessarily great. There have been failures there, and I think going back and examining those things and figuring out what can I learn from that experience, that has really helped me to grow as a person. And it's okay. I mean, there are failures all the time. I think that's the other issue I think with Gen Z is like they're so afraid to fail. And I don't
Yeah.
ever want to be in that position either, because I think you learn a heck of a lot through
Yeah.
those failures. So I think that's when you look at somebody who's really successful, understand that they got there because they had a series of failures. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like they learn from what doesn't work. And so I think this exercise that you're talking about is really, really helpful. I'm wondering how fraternity and sorority communities could use your framework on hope to support their members who might be going through difficult mental health issues or life challenges.
Yeah. But what's the cool, I mean, the cool thing of fraternity and sorority life is the fact that you guys are already ingrained into community together, right? And that gives you an opportunity to connect more. Now, what does that look like? I don't know if that's an opportunity if you sense someone or see someone kind of being down or avoidant of the group. I mean, taking that time to actually check in with them, see what's going on, what's wrong. Um, Other things that I mean, I remember Wabash having therapists and things on campus, as well as just like groups of guys that would get together and kind of just chat. And there's always opportunities to connect when you're at least in the house and things like that. So if this is on a chapter Sunday, right? If you're at chapter and you guys are all getting together and everything like that, and you have time to talk after, take that time to just connect and reconnect with everybody in the house, whether you're living in or out, because I just think it's good to remind yourself that one, you're not alone in whatever you're facing, and two, these people are here to support you as well. Like you're in a brotherhood, you're in a sisterhood together. Join them, you know?
Yeah. We always in our chapter meetings, we always had this informal time after the chapter meeting business was done where we would talk about something that went really well in our life, but also something that was really challenging for us. And I
Yeah.
think that was a really helpful exercise. And I would encourage others to do that as well, because you'll find support. You'll find people that will pick you up, that have some words of wisdom, or maybe they've gone through something similar and they can kind of help you through that moment. But you got to be vulnerable, right? And you got to
Yeah.
feel safe. That's
Yeah.
the other thing. The question is, do we feel safe at the Fiji meeting to be vulnerable like that and say, hey guys, I'm going through a really difficult time right now.
Yeah.
And you might have seen, X, Y, and Z over the last week, and I just want you to know what's happening in my life right now. Yeah, that takes a certain amount of vulnerability, right? And
Yeah.
I think as
And culture
men,
of the house. Like the
yeah,
culture of the house has to be in a place where they're going to be supportive of that. Because if you
right.
don't have that in the house, then you don't expect the guy to stand up and be vulnerable with them, with you
Yeah.
guys.
I think that's up to all of us. I think if we really want to get the best out of our members, then we have to create that culture, that we
1000%.
feel
Yeah.
safe, right? I mean, otherwise, we're never going to get where we want to go, and we're never going to get everybody executing at their top peak game.
Yeah.
We don't create that safety system. Yeah, I think it all goes back to Abraham Maslow and his thinking, his hierarchy in terms
Yeah.
of safety. That we all need to have that in order to excel. So for anybody who's listening right now who is struggling and maybe they are feeling hopeless, what is one action, one thing they can take right now in order to reclaim their sense of hope?
I think I said it earlier and I'll say it again. Find a community fast if you can. I know some people don't have a put together family. I know people don't have friends right outside their door, or people, reaching out to hang out with them and things like that. I know for me, when I first moved out of school, and I think a lot of people face this honestly after they graduate. Finding friends in the adult life, I've heard, is just something that's super difficult.
Mm.
And whether it's in college or you just getting out of college, you have to put yourself in those positions to build that community. So if that means start going to a workout class and just trying something new, you're gonna have to put yourself out there. But I think community itself, if you can find that, that can pretty much reignite your hope the quickest, if you're trying to find something to do immediately.
Yeah,
So
that's great suggestion. And it is hard for people after they graduate. I think, we get so entrenched in our fraternity, our sorority, our
yeah,
clubs, athletic teams in college, and then you go off to some, new city because you just got this new job and you don't know anybody in town. And it's like, well, now what? Now,
yeah,
like now you're starting from that bottom rung again, and it becomes a little bit harder when you're an adult to make those friends. But I agree with you, look for hobbies, whether that be going to the gym or rock climbing or bowling or
yeah.
whatever it is that
Anything
you
you want to get
do.
involved in,
Yeah,
yeah,
you got to get involved in something, and then you'll start to build that community. And I would also suggest, there are these Rotary clubs that are in every city in America. They usually meet for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. So you get a free meal out of it. They usually have a speaker, so there is some educational component. And
Value.
there's
Yeah.
and there's community service too. They love to do
Yeah.
community service. So if you're in a fraternity or sorority, you'll fit right into a Rotary club. You'll be like, this is like, fraternity or sorority for adults. Like, this is great.
Yeah.
So, so definitely look into that. And it's a great way to meet all of the leaders in town. So I would highly suggest that as something to find that network. The other thing you talk about too is legacy. And I was kind of interested to know, what do you hope that your legacy will be for this generation of college students?
My legacy for them,
Yeah.
I would say that my legacy for them would be an improvement in just how we perceive and our perspective on the world and our things around us. I think we're all going to war each day. We all have our own battles. We all have our own fights. I wrote my college final paper on this idea, and we all are facing something. It's just to the degree that you see it as bad or worse or awful, right? And I think once you can kind of flip the switch on that idea and look at, okay, rather than like you were saying earlier, Dr. Michael, having something that is a failure, if you're able to kind of just reframe that or embrace that, that goes a long way. So rather than, immediately reacting to something negatively and just being like, my car needs oil and I just spilled coffee on my shirt, rather than see that as an opportunity of like, oh, you know what, this outfit didn't work out that well today. Maybe it's a sense of, psychotic optimism. I don't know. Maybe this outfit wasn't going to work out anyways. Change the shirt, go get the oil change, get back to whatever you needed to do. Right. We often talk with my therapist about Aunt Ninny, and I've commented about this on other podcasts that I've been on, but Aunt Ninny is the sort of negative, nagging thoughts in your head that try to push you into this sort of negative mindset. But if you're able to kind of push it back, you can really change how you view what's going on around you, which is pretty cool. So,
Yeah, they have
yeah,
those studies that talk about how many negative thoughts you have in your head versus positive, and the negative
yeah,
is always like so much higher. And I
yeah,
think, social media also, I think, contributes to this, like, because we're always looking at everybody else and we're like, man, this guy's got a BMW and he's in Tahiti now. Like, I want to be doing that. Like, and there's this like envy that, sets in, and you're like, man, then why isn't that me? And so all of this negative thoughts start creeping in. And so if you can fight that, and start reframing it and just start thinking about everything that you're grateful for. The
yeah,
fact that you have that great support team, that that you're in college and you have a college degree. I mean, not everyone gets a chance to go to college.
exactly.
So you have so many blessings and so
Yeah.
many things to be grateful for, but it's all about reframing kind of how you look at things.
I think
Um,
that and being conscious of what you consume. You
yeah,
said, yeah, your piece about social media. Like, if
yeah,
you're genuinely conscious, I know we all say we are, but I think we all know that we're looking at like things online that are just like eating us inside. So, genuinely conscious of what you consume online too, that can dramatically help your
100%.
health.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Now, I do love good food. That's my weakness, is going out and finding some really good
Heck
food.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I do get to Indianapolis quite often because all of the fraternity and sorority headquarters are based out of there. So we have meetings in
yeah.
Indianapolis literally all the time. So where should I go for a great bite to eat the next time I'm in town?
Well, one, if you're ever up here, let me know. Would love to grab dinner with you.
Yeah.
Two, one of my favorite spots is called Monterey in Carmel. I don't know if you've
Mhm.
ever been. You have?
Mhm. I know I've been to Carmel before. I passed
Okay.
by the restaurant, but I don't think I actually stopped in for anything. So I need to stop in.
Yeah, Monterey. It's just on the corner of like the main street and the Monon. That's the famous Monon walking path and running
Hmm.
path that everybody
Hmm.
goes on. But some of their just like food, seafood, the drinks, appetizers, all incredible. The other that I would tell you is Mama Carolla's. It is a more Italian style. So just be Italian if you like Italian food. Um, Restaurant, and it's in this like little house in what's called Broad Ripple of Indiana and or Indianapolis. And then yeah, those would be like my two for sure you have to go to.
Those are excellent suggestions. I love that walking path that you have there in Carmel, man. If I was living in Indianapolis, for sure I would be in Carmel because it's just a great place to raise a family. And if you go through those walking paths on the weekend, like everybody is out, the families are out, the
Yeah.
strollers. I mean, it's like a whole thing, and it's just awesome. It's just it's what America should be. So if you get a chance to go walk on the walking paths there in Carmel, go and check that out, and you'll understand what a beautiful city is in America. So really great stuff. I had a lot of fun here. Where can our listeners go to connect with you and invite you to speak on their college campus?
Yeah, best way to connect with me is either just online. If you just Google my name, William Yank, you're going to find me pretty much all my socials and everything else. It's always kind of been that way, or my LinkedIn. If you're looking to genuinely reach out about speaking opportunities, it's williamyank25 at Gmail. That'd be my email that I do business through. From there, my website will be up here in probably the next month or so. So soon I'll have that. I have my own domain, which is my name. So once again, you'll just Google my name, you'll find it. Yeah, that'd be the best way to find me.
Fantastic. William Yank. Make sure you Google him, find his new website once he launches that. But in the meantime, you can connect with him on LinkedIn. That's where we're connected, and he can help you out with any speaking opportunities on your campus, especially for those fraternity and sorority communities. I think is really, really fits in nicely. And this message of hope is something that we certainly all need to be thinking about. William, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it. And thank you for sharing all this great wisdom with our audience today.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Michael. I appreciate it. Hope you have a great day.
All right. And to our listeners, if you enjoyed this conversation with Will, I want you to like it on social media and I want you to share it with other college students. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you on the next episode of the Fraternity Foodie Podcast. Bye for now.